What up, though, ladies and gentlemen? I'm your boy, Eazy. I'm joined by the Motown commish, Nick Leach. What up, though?
What's happening, man? Happy Wednesday to you.
Happy Wednesday to you, too, man. You're having a good day today. Close the deal. I want to say what up to my man, Fish, in the fish tank.
I'm doing great. I'm excited for the weekend's coming up. I know it's only Wednesday. People like to hate me for that, but it is. It's coming up. New Year's Eve is Friday. Michigan State plays tomorrow.
I was just gonna say that's what you should have been hyping up right there.
And there's bowl games today too. They canceled the 11 a.m. game, which sucks, but they got the 2:15 game. So,
in the words of one of my favorite UFC fighters, Max Holloway, it is what it is. We also have a special guest in the TD booth, and he asked special requests not to go to him too much, but because he's kind of famous around these parts. We got Stick. What up, though, man?
What up, though? This is good times. Happy to be here to serve y'all, and let's have a great show today, fellas. Can we do that?
Yes, sir.
Stick, real quick, just so you know, I know we have a merchandise meeting that we're supposed to get to at 2 o'clock. We won't be there, just so you're aware.
All right, we'll push it back.
All right, I think we can handle that.
We have an action-packed show for you guys. Obviously, the passing of a legendary announcer and head coach, and John Madden, with the Detroit Lions, their matchup against the Seattle Seahawks coming up. Dan Campbell on the radio waves made some pretty interesting comments to the Detroit market. I perceived them a little bit differently than others, but nonetheless, action-packed show. Let's start with the big news going around everywhere, honestly. John Madden passed away tragically at 85 years old. Nick, what are your memories of John Madden, and what is it that you think of when you hear his name?
When you hear John Madden, you think football. Like that name for me. 28 years old. That name's synonymous with football. Like from the Madden games growing up, from the time that you started watching football on TV, John Madden was that guy. Like that. There's no other person in football to me that has that same type of grasp. Like Joe Buck, you could maybe talk about a little bit, but he also calls baseball games and other things like that. But Madden was just so good at what he did in the booth and even on the field as well. So I know he was a guy that wanted to be remembered as a coach first, but I mean, we're in this media game now, and what a legendary broadcaster as well.
No, he really is, and obviously you have the video game, which he will be remembered for forever, which is kind of like a conversation you and I have had in the past about, I guess, building like a legacy for yourself, and what you can do in life, just to make sure that your family's like proud of what you've done, and he's done that. You know what I'm saying? Kids for generations, I guarantee there's kids who didn't know who John Madden was outside of the video game, and he has that. And for Pete's sake, can we please fix the video game? Can we make it where, like, for the sake of this man's legacy, can we fix the video game and bring it back to what it was? Like, make it fun again. Make Madden great again.
When's the last time you've actually, like, do you play all those games pretty regularly still, or?
Yeah, so actually, because obviously, shouts out, even in my Twitter bio, I'm the brand new hockey fan. And I asked our 4-time Stanley Cup champion, Darren McCarty, what can I do to learn the game of hockey quicker so I don't sound like an idiot when I start talking about it? And he recommended playing NHL 22. So I was like, that's actually a good point. That's how actually I learned to love football, was through the NCAA football games and through Madden. Again, these are legendary for that. So yeah, I downloaded them all this year just to because that's how you familiarize yourself with the rosters. Unless you're a true stat nerd, you know the rosters when you do that franchise mode and you try to make the Lions a winnable, winning franchise for once in your lifetime. That's how you get to learn that stuff. I mean, he's an absolute legend, man. And to speak on him as an announcer, like, I'm not going to sit here in front like I remember him as an announcer or even a coach, because that was well before my time. But I know somebody who likes the announcers even more than the players. The only person boring enough to say that is Tom Mazaway. Yeah, but I respect Tom Mazaway, and he says John Madden is one of the greatest announcers of all time. And on top of that too, going back through some of the clips that we're going to play here recently, dude, he had fun with it.
Yeah,
and that's encouraging to me, because you know me, I'm a clown. I'm a clown when I'm up here on the mic, and anytime in any type of setting, that's where I feel comfortable. And John Madden, was never shy to make light of any situation. He made things enjoyable in the booth.
Yeah, well, I mean, so FS1 happened to re-air the documentary about him that just came out on Christmas, and how weird of a situation that is. Is he was alive long enough to see like a living eulogy for the most part. Like, you get to sit there and watch all these great players, Brett Favre, Bill Belichick, everybody was sitting just saying all the great things about him. I think Lawrence Taylor was in the documentary saying like Fox Sports wants me to do this thing, I'm not going to do it. Like, and then as soon as he said it's John Madden, oh, I'll be there, no doubt about it. So like that just it goes to show you like the effect that he had on people. And there was guys as well too that they wanted to talk. There's that video of Randy Moss that said, let me talk to Pat Summerall and John Madden up in the booth. Like, guys embraced it. They wanted to be on that Madden highlight reel. You had the all Madden team that was a big deal every single year. Yeah. So, like, Madden was the NFL. Football. He was football.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. You said that earlier. Like, John Madden, the first thing to think of is football. John Madden is football. I believe we had a couple of clips of him in the booth, some of him clowning. I don't know if we got those out in time. Here's a tweet, though, from Adam Schefter yesterday. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, obviously one of the most famous owners. I think he's the most famous owner in the NFL. Obviously, he's a storied franchise in the Cowboys. And this is what he had to say about John Madden. He says, I'm not aware of anyone who has made a more meaningful impact on the National Football League than John Madden. And I know of no one who loved the game more. And I think that speaks volumes in itself, because to think of who Jerry Jones is in the National Football League. It's like I just now said, he's the most famous owner. The Cowboys are probably the most storied franchise, maybe behind the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, they're quoted as America's team, but Jerry Jones was a big factor of why Fox is what it is today. So you need to remember, too, that like Jerry Jones owning that team, he made sure he puts the Cowboys in the spotlight. But nonetheless, I mean, you could go all around the league and former players, up and down the board, current players. I mean, they had Lamar Jackson in that documentary, too. And, it was a game that was my favorite. I think the best one of all time was Madden 04 with Michael Vick on the cover. Was an absolute cheat. I don't even think you could have made a player in the game as good as Mike Vick was in the 04 game.
No, you couldn't have. It was an absolute cheat code. That game, my first Madden game that I'm most familiar with is I couldn't tell you the year. It could be 05, and I could be definitely wrong on that. But it's the one with Donovan McNabb on the cover of it. That's when I discovered Madden and got hooked. And again, that's how I learned all the rosters. I think anyone who's young enough to have gone through that, pops on franchise mode and starts making trades like crazy, so the Detroit Lions are competitive. Get your favorite player from another team, bring him to the Lions, and win yourself a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and like I said, going back to Lamar Jackson, like that's how you kind of won. Like you said, you kind of play those video games to learn the game a little bit better, right? What plays they're running, and and having Madden's voice as the cover for that as well too, just made it that much better. But going back and looking at his coaching history too, like he only coached 10 years. Like, that's the crazy part about it. And it got hard. It's hard on the family. People, they say, like he was sitting there saying in the documentary, like, people don't realize how much it takes away from you and your family. So he just, it was too much on him. He went to, I believe, five AFC title games in 7 seasons at one point in time. And he finally got his Super Bowl and Super Bowl 11. But, like, think about, like, that's an extra maybe month or two of work that you have to do if you're not making the postseason.
According to the LeBron haters in the room, just making it isn't good enough.
Well, but that was one of the things talked about with him trying to get into the Hall of Fame, and I believe he went into the 2006 class with Troy Aikman. He didn't know if he was ever going to get in, and the only way he was going to go into the Hall of Fame is if he was a coach. He didn't want to go in as a broadcaster. As legendary as he was,
wow,
he wanted to be known as a coach. Isn't that kind of crazy to think about?
I did not know that. What else I learned last night, too, doing a little bit of homework, is he didn't fly. John Madden, he wasn't a fan of flying. He didn't take a lot of flights. One tradition or one thing that I've heard about him multiple times at this point was the turduncan. The turduncan.
Duckin', not Duncan. Duckin'.
Okay. So this is a chicken stuffed inside a turkey?
It's a turkey.
Okay.
And inside the turkey is a chicken, and then there's like stuffing. Then inside of that there's a duck with more stuffing. So all of that's within the turkey. It's called turducken. It was awesome.
Well, have you had it?
Me, no, not personally. I've never had it, but it looks delicious, and I love all birds that I can eat.
Yeah, they're massive.
But just to follow up on what you guys were saying, like yesterday, randomly, I knew I had that recorded, the Madden, and I put it on, and literally about a half hour into it is when ESPN came out that he passed away, and it was very strange. And then I watched that kind of differently because, like you were saying, it was like they were doing a moratorium for the guy while he was alive, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Everybody should hear what people think about them and feel about them while they're alive. You know, that's saying give them their flowers while they're still here.
Yes.
And Madden got to sit there and hear it for his entire life. And, I mean, at this point, it's more important now than it ever has been that came out when it did. And I thought they did a tremendous job.
Absolutely, I 100% agree. Like it's beautiful that he got to see that and show how many people he's truly impacted.
Well, and it's crazy too. I literally got goosebumps sitting here thinking about it. The quote that he last said in that documentary Stick is, he goes, "I finally realized what I've never realized." And I thought and that was how they ended the documentary, and it was very chilling, especially with the news of it coming out yesterday that he was no longer with us.
For those of you who've missed that documentary, like myself, that's airing again on Thursday at 9 o'clock. I believe it's FS1. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, it's a Fox Sports special.
Yeah, it's one of the Fox networks. But what else is on Fox? A lot of football, Nick. Where can you gamble on some football? Where do you go to bet on football games?
The best gambling book out there, and that is mybookie.ag. And in honor of him, I think everyone should place a bet on Thursday Night Football this week. It's the thing to do. So head over to mybookie.ag, use promo code Woodward, and you'll get up to 50% of your deposit matched. Free money, Easy. What's better than free money? I love free money.
A turducken, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
Duck it!
Turducken!
Unfortunately, you can't buy one of those, but you can at least make some good money. So head over to mybookie.ag in honor of John Madden and place a bet on some Thursday Night Football. We'll be right back. The bottom line.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
And we're back on December 29th, 2021. It's a Wednesday. I'm with my man, Motown Commish, a.k.a.
Not Fish, Nick Leach. And I got your name right. Our very, very first show is incredibly embarrassing. I did half the week with legendary voice of Detroit sports, Terry Foster, which I'm not going to mess that name up because that man's an absolute legend. But, as soon as someone else replaced him, and it was you, I kept calling you Nick Lynch, and I apologize for that, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of insulted that you don't think I'm in the same category as Terry Foster.
Okay, you're doing that again. Detroit Lions, they're going to Seattle. The 11th, 12th man. Seattle's not looking too hot, man. Seattle's record, this is the first time they've had double-digit losses, and I think this is, for Pete Carroll, almost a decade.
Yeah, it's been a long time now, and Seattle was. Every time I hear Seattle, I think the Legion of Boom.
Oh, yeah.
I still think it's there. I still think Cam Chancellor is there, Richard Sherman, and they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 5-10 football team now. Pete Carroll said that they're headed towards a retool. They're not really going for a rebuild, but I don't know how you retool when you don't have a first-round draft pick. So that's for them to figure out, not me. But the first thing I think about going back to Seattle is, the infamous ball tap out of bounds game.
With Calvin Johnson.
Yeah. So that was in week 4 of the 2015 season, and Monday Night Football, Lions were 0-3. So you knew it was go time, and this was when, at the time, Lions had big expectations, to make a playoff run. Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson was here. Amir Abdullah was drafted, I believe, that year as well. So you were expecting big things out of him. And then the coaching, the referee crew got it wrong with Tony Corrente, and guess who's back on the call this weekend?
Who?
Tony Corrente.
Perfect. No, I agree with you too. When you think of Seattle, you do think of that Legion of Boom, and although I know they're not there, for some reason, and this is probably something I should stop romanticizing with that team, is I feel like the aura, the magic, the mist is still there. Because Quandre Diggs, former Detroit Lion they have there, he's made a couple good plays this year. Some against Matthew Stafford, which I love, me. But the truth is that defense no longer exists. That's not the case. The Seattle football team, not the Washington. The Seattle Seahawks are 5-10 headed in this one, and then more importantly, where if I want to appease some of my Detroit Lions fans listening, and if you are listening, please hit that like button. Russell Wilson, since banging up his finger against those Rams, throwing that interception to Quandre Diggs, not the same guy. I got some of his numbers here. Since the finger injury, he's averaging 206 yards per game. It's Jared Goff-esque. That's not the Russell Wilson we were talking about. Let Russ cook. And if he is cooking, he's burning some food. We don't want that. Only 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. It's very uncharacteristic of Russell Wilson, who at one time, and I can't say at one time, this still exists, one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch. But he's just not the same.
So that was actually my favorite quarterback, or actually one of my favorite players outside of the Detroit Lions. I think everybody out there can sit there and say that they have a player like that. So for him, it's very uncharacteristic, but I think a lot of it has to do with that he came back from that finger injury way too soon. I think the initial diagnosis for it was saying he was going to be out for 8 to 12 weeks, and then he was back within 4.
Yeah, and I remember too, it was one of their national broadcasts. I think when Seattle played the Steelers, and they were showing Russ, even though he was on the IR list and he wasn't playing, he was still out there running through the formations and stuff like that, going through the motions of hiking the football. Do you remember that? And,
I hated that.
Even doing the huddle. Yeah, everyone was all cringed out, but me, I'm a Russell Wilson fan, so I
am
loved
too,
it.
but I
I'm
hated
look at
it.
this dedication, man. But you hate that he came back early?
No, I hated that he was doing that pregame stuff.
That's what the greats do, man. They're weird.
Have you ever seen Tom? Do you think Tom Brady was going to do that when he was out for the season with his ACL injury?
Well, he couldn't. He had ACL
He could have been
injury.
out there in a brace or something.
Honestly, I think he would have.
No.
Tom Brady's a weirdo, dude. He eats avocado ice cream. You don't think he's going to do weird stuff like that?
No, absolutely
Who eats
not.
avocado ice cream? It looks like baby poop.
That's just Russell Wilson being extra for his wife, Sierra.
Nah. That's Russ being a winner that he is. 3rd round pick, Super Bowl champion. Could have won again if it weren't for the head coach for playing this Sunday and Pete Carroll. What do you think actually, that's a good question. What do you think of Pete Carroll as of late? He's not as on as high of a pedestal as he once was.
No, I think it's. I mean, I think every coach is allowed to, have one season. This is his first time ever that he's had double-digit losses in a year. So I'm not gonna put the blame on Pete Carroll. Chris Carson's been out most of the season. Russell's he is hurt. I mean, people would say he's fine now, but I still think he's hurt. So Pete Carroll, I mean, you obviously get a pass, but if you come back and you say it's only a retool, you have to be a man of your word. It can't be another season like this. So it all depends. I'm a Pete Carroll fan. What he's done for Seattle for a long time, he's been great for them.
Yeah, if Detroit Lions fans want something to get excited about, one of the only things that were exciting about the Detroit Lions this year, while he was healthy, was Deandre Swift. Dan Campbell spoke with the media today, and he's up in the air. He actually may play. He said he's not going to shut down Deandre Swift until after the Green Bay game. And he says there's still things to learn, and I kind of believe him because I don't know if you remember at the beginning of the year, even when he was balling, Swift was never the actual starter of this team. Every time and I don't think it matters too much. Maybe it's more of an ego thing or pride thing that it may hurt him or hamper him in any way. But yeah, he's never the starter come the first play of the offensive snap. And I attribute that to what Dan Campbell was speaking about today. Maybe there is room for this guy to grow, and he can be even better than what we've seen.
Well, I think you're just seeing that across the NFL that, having two running backs is the way to protect one. Even if, let's say, you only had one feature back and you're just putting DeAndre Swift out there time and time again, you probably rushed him back a couple weeks ago with his shoulder injury. So I think now having 2 running backs in your stable, you're going to see many more NFL teams do that just because it gives a lot of these running backs a longer life. I believe that the average age or average lifespan of a running back in the NFL is 3 years. I mean, think about a guy like Arian Foster, who was phenomenal for 4 years, and then kind of just fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, I mean, that's why these running backs, you see their value is deteriorating in free agency, deteriorating in the draft. I 100% agree with that. One negative, though, in this matchup, one of the guys that they attribute the resurgence of Jared Goff, because as we know, Jared Goff in the past 4 games, the passer rating is 105.1. I think just behind Matthew Stafford and the ranks of those guys. Aaron Rodgers, I believe, is on that list too. He's missing a key piece in Josh Reynolds, someone that a lot of people attributed to his resurgence throughout the season, who I expect to replace him, probably Kadero Hodge. I remember a couple games back, that's who was replacing him, and I don't remember the exact team and what it was against. He didn't perform that well. Obviously would have been speaking more on him and what he's done throughout the season if that was the case. But is that a concern for you in this matchup? No Josh Reynolds in this one?
A little bit, but you got the rook. I'm on Ron St. Brown, baby.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that kid's come out and has kind of made a name for himself as of recent weeks. That he's up for the Rookie of the Year, or Rookie of the Week, excuse me, from his performance last week. So, yeah, does it concern me a little bit? Because they've kind of been a nice 1-2 punch to have for the Lions. I believe he went into protocol on Monday, so there's still a chance that he could get cleared before Sunday as long as he's vaccinated.
Yeah. And I could sit here and I could throw numbers at you all day. Whether they're real or not, or I make them up. No, I'm just kidding. But I could sit here and give you stats and numbers all day. However, what are your true expectations for this game? What do you see out of the Detroit Lions and Seattle Seahawks? Is it going to be a close game? Will it be a victory? I mean, you're a betting man. You see the spread up there, -7. What are your thoughts? What are your actual thoughts on how the game plays out?
So the spread's what, -7? Like that for a 5-10 team against what the Lions have been due as of late. Last 5 games, 2-2-1. They've been competitive in every single one of them. I mean, I like the Lions' chances, especially since Jared Goff has been back. And I get the Lions haven't won on the road at all this season, so that may be an issue, especially going out to the West Coast. But I mean, the 12s aren't going to be like the 12s are. It's not going to be as noisy as years past, as we've seen. So, especially if you get Swift, how do you not like the Lions' chances with how they've been playing?
Yeah, I'd love to give me some DeAndre Swift in this game. I think we're going to need it. I do think Josh Reynolds may just looking at the numbers with Josh Reynolds in the offense, it does kind of make sense to, I guess, Jared Goff and his resurgence and him coming back and looking like a little bit of the guy that he once was in L.A., because he really is the only veteran guy in that locker room who has experience. Again, playing with Goff and big games. You know, obviously outside of that, you have a rookie named Ross St. Brown who's not that experienced. However, if we could run the football, I feel like in any NFL team, if this is the case, if you could run the football, you genuinely have a chance. And if we have Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, and even now maybe even Craig Reynolds, I think that it could be done. And I just hope that they stay true to the run. I don't want them to vary off if they get down by a couple points. I don't want them to get all pass happy because, yes, Jared Goff has played well as of late. However, he still has his early season mistakes in my mind that I loop and replay when I think of him. So I hope we stay committed to the run, even if we're down two scores. I don't care. Run the football. That's what this team does best. That's the best way we've moved the football. Going back to last week, we were in the game with a backup quarterback, and even then, the 4 drives we had when we scored, 7-minute drives. You look at that, you think you're running the football. There's not a lot of passing in that. I think that's that, and obviously sack the heck out of Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I know Dan Campbell's doing the play calling still, and he's going to keep that going the rest of the season. But it's still an Anthony Lynn offense. He's still the offensive coordinator here, and he's a run-happy guy first. And especially since if Reynolds can't go, I look for it definitely to be more run first. But you get DeAndre Swift back a little bit too. You're going to see a little bit more of the dink and dunks that we maybe saw a little bit earlier in the season, which I think helps because then you have the dynamic too to spread the ball downfield. Goff seems to have gotten a little bit of confidence back with that. So I think if you get Reynolds in this, I think it makes it. I'm not going to call anything easy for the Lions, but
it's easy, baby.
It makes it a little bit easier for you to spread the ball around the field.
Yeah, I hope they run the football. That's the only way I really see this turn out in their favor. And if they don't run the football, I might have to make a call to my side piece, Miss Ford, and tell her, Campbell might have to go get a new job at Northwestern Tech. He might have to go to schooling for some heating and cooling. You know what I'm saying? And you could do that yourself if you're out of a job or you're looking for a new career. Find a new career in the HVAC in a school that works for you at northwesterntech.edu.
You know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
And a miraculous catch.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Eazy. I'm joined by the Motown commish, Nick Leach. Fish in the fishbowl and stick in the TD booth, a.k.a. Alex's Woodshed. I didn't notice he said this yesterday. After we said Woodshed and agreed to the name, he called it the deep end after that.
Yeah.
And was that cool? Is that a cool nickname?
Well, the deep end's the student section at the Woodshed. So I wasn't sure if you caught that or not.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You see,
there you go. You learn something new every day hanging out
I'm
with
getting
me.
older in age. I haven't been in the student section in a while.
I know you were kind of on me yesterday about, bringing back the show and everything. Was that your Ermani impression? It's a little bit more raspier than what Ryan can do.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan smokes as much. Another reason that I'm gonna touch on this is real quick because we do have it loaded up, and it did grind my gears is a way to say it without using swear words. Here is a Seattle news anchor clowning our Detroit Lions. Stick if you could do the due diligence on that one. And
we gotta do better. All right, it's the first time in Pete Carroll's tenure they've had a 10-loss season. Can you believe that? 2 games left. Next week, the Lions come to town. If there's a team worse than the Bears, it is the Lions. So I'm not going to say they've hit rock bottom unless they lose to the Lions.
F that guy.
Yeah. He actually replied to one of our tweets earlier today. Someone said, get ready to hit rock bottom. He said that might actually happen.
Oh, I seen that. They said we're gonna make you eat your words. And then I posted that gif of Peter Griffin grabbing his knee. And I was like, watch your kneecaps, bro.
Joey 2 times in the chat said that's insulting to coleslaw.
What is? Oh, they're talking about food, I think. Joy 2 times was in here talking about blooming onions earlier. So I don't know if they're talking about like that or what we're talking about. However, someone did catch the side piece comment about Sheila Ford. Shouts out to Ghostface. Moving on, as I said earlier, actually, let me mention something I didn't say earlier. We're gonna have Glover Quin on the show. If you guys don't know, if you haven't been following me on Twitter, I'm a big proponent, a big fan of a safety in Notre Dame called Kyle Hamilton. That's actually his government name. We're gonna have a one-time Detroit Lions Pro Bowl safety Glover Quin join us later on the show. Break down a little bit of the film and get his thoughts on what it takes or what you should be looking for in a safety to move on to the next level. He's brilliant football mind. I can't wait to speak to him. However, Nick, I do want to speak to you about comments made by our Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell while he was on a certain radio station. He said that Jared Goff has been playing great football as of well, and he very well could be the quarterback of the future. I didn't know what to think of that one. Let me get your take real quick.
What do you expect the guy to say? No, he's not going to be like Jared Goff has still got a 1-year deal left on his contract. I mean, Grant, he has been playing very good football as of late. You can't knock that, and you can't deny it. But to say he's the quarterback of the future, come on, Dan.
Yeah, and I'm in the same boat with that too. Like, he had to say it. It was the politically correct thing to say.
Yeah.
He can't say, hey, we're dumping this guy. He sucked the whole first half of the season. And again, like you said, a spade's a spade. He has been playing good football as of late, and it's shown. Like I said, we just looked at some of the numbers earlier. I'll touch on them again. 69% completion percentage, 898 yards, almost 1,000. That's just in 4 games. Like, he's been balling as of late. And again, we do have that nasty contract. Jared Goff, I'm looking at the numbers right now, is owed next year $30 million. $30 million would be the dead cap hit if we cut Jared Goff. He's here next year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he has to keep his confidence up. He can't just trash him.
Yeah, so, I mean, this was a conversation I wanted to bring up as well, too. So, John Lynch, the GM of the San Francisco 49ers.
Former safety.
Another safety. Big safety show today.
Yeah, it is.
But, he quote unquote accidentally liked a tweet that says, you should leave Jimmy G, and I forgot where they were playing at this past week, but said you should leave him in that city. And then he liked the tweet, and then
Tennessee.
Yeah, you should leave him in Tennessee. And then he had to retract and said, "Oh, while I was at church, I accidentally liked a tweet that I wouldn't have ever liked," or something like that. And I was just like, "Bro, come on."
First of all, you weren't at church. You weren't at church. You were out at the bar or something. Watching the damn game. You were watching the game, the team you're in charge of from church? No, liar. Second of all, are you like referencing that we may bring Jimmy Garoppolo to the Detroit Lions? Is that what you're saying right now?
Well, I'm just saying it's definitely worth the conversation.
Take off this hoodie, bro. I don't want him here either, bro.
So, well, you look at the 49ers right now, and I believe they're 8-7 on the year, if I'm not mistaken. But Jimmy G, I mean, granted, yes, last year was kind of a weird year for them. They dealt with a lot of injuries, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl the year prior. Like, Jimmy G's kind of been getting it done for the 49ers over at least 1 year he did. But it's almost like he's getting the Jared Goff treatment. And I get that. I mean, that's why you drafted Trey Lance where you did last year. And Jimmy's out now, or I guess he's
Hurt
questionable
again.
with a UCL injury with his thumb, and it's a bit of a fracture as well, too. So I don't know. I mean, it's I don't hate Jimmy G.
You're crazy, bro. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the numbers right now. We got the $30 million to Goff. I'm looking at Jimmy G's contract. That's $26 million for another average quarterback who gets banged up more than Goff.
But so look,
and I'm not talking about what that porn star used to date. He's getting banged up on the field.
Let me ask you this though. Earlier in the year, would you have said you'd take Jimmy G over Jared Goff?
If given the option?
Yes. Earlier in the year. Remember
like
how you were feeling earlier in the year?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but they're like the same guy to me. Jimmy G's a little bit more mobile, and that's why I would have taken him, because he can make stuff when plays break down. Jimmy G could turn chicken poop into chicken soup, and I didn't swear, so you can't punch me in the throat stick.
But no, like, what if for whatever reason, like, granted this came up before the injury, so now I feel like his fate is a little bit more sealed. But my whole thought behind it is like, okay, what if Jimmy G takes the 49ers to the playoffs again, and he wins a couple of games and somehow gets back to the Super Bowl? Like, just hypothetical, what if he would have won the Super Bowl and you have Trey Lance still sitting there? If you're the Lions, one, that they're going to love Jimmy G, or two, are they going to move on from him? And then one, you go after a guy that just won the Super Bowl. And I get this is all hypothetical, but would you at least want to hear that maybe the Lions were throwing a draft pick or a couple draft picks or future draft picks at a guy like Trey Lance who maybe they weren't going to use?
Oh, Trey Lance. That's different, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It was definitely an more interesting conversation, I think, right before Jimmy G got hurt. Now you're probably going to get to see a bit of Trey Lance and see what he's capable of. And then in the few appearances that he's had this year, too, it's been quite impressive. So I feel like that door's definitely more closed. But I thought at the time it was a much better conversation to have.
You know, Nick, you must not know me from my basement days of the Speakeasy podcast. I am the conductor of the Trigger Trey train. I was on that hype train. I wanted the Detroit Lions to draft him because originally, Trey Lance, he was supposed to come a little bit later because Mac Jones was going to be the 3 pick that everyone was hyping up. And it ended up being your boy Eazy was right. You know what I'm saying? Trey Lance, he was the pick at 3. But no, if you're saying that, then I'm cool with that all day. At first, when you're talking all that craziness, I thought hypothetical was a strain of weed you were smoking. But no, if Trey Lance is there, I'm all day. And he's a fellow light-skinned Legion member too. Like, bring him over here, man.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I think again that door's definitely sealed now. You're going to see Trey Lance. I don't see how Jimmy could play with a broken or a fractured thumb and a torn UCL ligament. So that's obviously out of the equation now. But that's why I said, like, finish the season off. Like, let's see what Jared has. Do the Lions take a quarterback in the draft? I don't know. Like, it was definitely a much better conversation to have. I'm not in love with any of these quarterbacks that are currently sitting there. So to me, I was just looking for different avenues of what you could do. And I thought maybe if Jimmy G, he's been winning with a solid San Francisco team. You look what they've done with Deebo Samuel, floating him in the backfield. And they've had quite a few injuries as well to the running backs. So he's getting it done with some key pieces missing for him. So I don't necessarily hate Jimmy G as much as maybe other people do.
I'm not just saying this because I'm fat, but if I had the less than greater sign, shouts out to the comments. Jimmy John's greater than Jimmy G. All day. And this is on the prep sheet, but we're questioning if Jared Goff is going to be the face of this franchise in the future due to Dan Campbell's comments on the radio yesterday. Is there a quarterback in this draft that you wouldn't be like if they took Kenny Pickett, which I doubt he'll be there with the second pick, or even earlier than that? Would you be mad?
No, I mean, I wouldn't be upset because whoever it is, I think you're going to still sit a year under Jared Goff. And I think Jared Goff is going to finish the season off strong. So that's why I do think he's at least made the case now for him to come back. Earlier in the year, I think everybody, even the chat, can agree with me. Like, what we're seeing out of Goff right now is brutal. But, like, let's see how Desmond Ridder performs in the Cincinnati-Alabama game. Like, I'm not opposed to Desmond Ridder. Like I said, I feel like who would have thought Mac Jones would kind of be leading the rookie candidates right now? I didn't necessarily see that coming. Yeah, when he got drafted to New England, I did see a bit of it. But Zach Wilson has struggled. Trevor Lawrence has struggled. So my options, I'm trying not to just fall in love with a quarterback for the sake of falling in love with one this draft.
Yeah, I don't allow myself to do that. I did last year with Trey Lance, I fully admit. But I understood. He's a project. He wasn't like a for sure product. But what he did offer was mobility. If there's a guy like that, which Kenny Pickett does have, I'm not opposed to it. I think guys like that, they offer you extra opportunities when the play breaks down. Granted, we're going to have a tremendous offensive line moving forward in the future if everyone stays healthy, and they're probably going to have time. But, one of the reasons I love watching Russell Wilson, why I love watching Aaron Rodgers is, again, the chicken poop, the chicken soup. Like, they do the damn thing, How many plays of Aaron Rodgers has he burned us? He's just in the backfield just frolicking around and then, finds somebody and flicks it to him. Like, he's just so nasty with it. And I think that's something that mobility gives you, even if you're not the greatest quarterback. I mean, we see guys like Baker Mayfield stick around the league just because they extend plays a little bit, and every once in a while they will find someone open. Granted, you're not going to pay that guy $26 million like we are Jared Goff right now, but yeah, if there's someone with some mobility, like, hell yeah, pull the trigger.
Do you think Tom Brady has kind of ruined expectations for quarterbacks, right? And this given age?
No, dude, you can't. That's not fair to expect that out of anyone. What that man's done is complete luck. Everyone's going to be so mad I said that. But no, seven? No, man. You can't expect that out of anyone. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of go back and you've been guilty of this. You've bashed Baker Mayfield a few times this year.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, but that guy just also took them to the AFC Championship against a good Chiefs team.
So, all right, so here's my thing with quarterbacks, and I get why they get the credit because they touch the football every single play, but football is a team sport. More than any other sport, in my opinion, football is a team sport. You need the offensive line to work. You need your running backs to at least do the job and manage 4 or 5 yards of carry. Like, I'm not saying like those guys are leaders. If anything, I'd say that the running attack led them, just like you should lead yourself to the Falling Warehouse over in Hamtramck. That's right. Me and my boy Stick, we actually got the foal with the owner himself, Chris, and it's a fantastic sport, invented in that very place. Make sure you guys check it out. They got a $2 mystery beer machine, and, I will invite Nick Leach one day. We'll have that rematch. I seen you guys in the comment section yesterday. I forgot who it was. I think it was Adam.
Yep.
They're excited to see you get your smug little face whooped at the Falling Warehouse. Make sure you guys check it out.
Do you know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
The pros know. Go! Listen Monday through Friday for Big D Energy Live on the Woodward Sports Network with Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty, former Lion Joik Bell, and the silky voice of Neil Rule.
So I was a little raspy the first time?
Yep.
Okay, so we went like, and we're... Is that so raspy?
Nope, you're good.
And we're back! December 29th on a Wednesday. It's your boy, Eazy, joined by the Motown Commish, Nick Leach. What up, though?
That was a lot better. You got it. You got it in there.
It kind of hurt my throat a little bit. Nick, why don't you tell us about this next topic real quick?
All right, so again, Eazy and I don't get to do this all as often. Ryan and Braylon will be back next week, so don't you guys worry about that. But I wanted to do kind of end of the year awards for the Detroit Lions. So I want to do a Lions MVP, an Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and last but not least, Special Teams Player of the Year. So going right down the list, we're going to kind of start with our Lions Rookie of the Year. If you had to pick one, Eazy, who are you kicking this off with your Rookie of the Year?
Penei Sewell, all day. I think he's not a leader yet. Obviously, he's the youngest guy, I think, on the roster, but definitely on that offensive line. But his tenacity, that gorilla. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he sets the tone of that offensive line. I'll never forget the very first preseason game. We saw some ugly pass blocking on the right side of the line, I will admit. However, on the run plays, my man was like I can't think of a farming machine that does it, but he was rolling them over. He was messing the boys up. You know what I'm saying? I think he was 19 or 20. He's really young at that time, and he's just a beast. I think he's hands down the Rookie of the Year. Plus, when you factor in, a week before our first game, his first NFL game, regular season, he gets switched to the left side of the line last minute after practicing the right side the entire offseason. And, guess who's across from him? Joey Bosa.
Yeah, dominated him.
Yeah, it's a bad man. And how many times Joey Bosa touched Jared Goff that day?
0.
Boy. So definitely my rookie of the year. How about you?
Mine's going a little bit different from you, but don't worry, that name will come up a little bit later.
Okay.
Rookie of the year, I'm on Ron St. Brown. This was a position that, the Lions organization really needed. It was a spot that, we were calling for. Even early in the first couple weeks of the season, we had Cephas here that was starting to emerge a little bit. We didn't have Josh Reynolds at the time. But what St. Brown has kind of brought to the table is a little bit of hope, is that maybe you don't – I would still say that you need a receiver going into next season, but at least you've got a quality 2 or 3 guy that can grow, hopefully, potentially into a number 1 receiver for this Lions offense.
I'd have to agree. I'm on Ross, not to him being the rookie of the year, but everything you said about like the promise he shows. For me to be rookie of the year, the same way we were grading the Lions team as a whole yesterday, he hasn't been there all year. He didn't start making starts until probably around week 6. Like so when he started making his impact a little later in the season than earlier on. Where Penei Sewell was been there since week 1. The other thing I'd say about Amon-Ra St. Brown, receivers coach, Antoine Randall L., former Pittsburgh Steelers, Super Bowl champion, and Super Bowl champion with Tampa Bay Bucks. His comparison for Amon-Ra St. Brown was the same one that we made earlier on this week, Hines Ward. And I love that, especially since we're going to be a running football team. He could be our receiver number 1. He catch the ball and block. That's all we need.
Hines Ward was great in those Pittsburgh days. I loved watching Hines play. So, all right, defensive player of the year. Who are you rocking with?
My defensive player of the year. So we had a little bit of conversation on this beforehand, and I didn't, who we were going to pick, because we didn't want to pick the same guy. However, I had to take claim to AO, man. Almani Oruwariye, as some of them say. He's a dog, man. He's third in the league with interceptions. And the thing about him, too, is even back to last year, when you look at a lot of the footage of the Detroit Lions secondary getting destroyed, you never really heard his name a lot. And that's a good thing. It's because he's doing his job. You're not always going to see stats out of guys who are actually doing their job because the ball's not getting thrown their way. And when it has this year, again, he's third in the league in interceptions. And I spoke to this a little bit earlier on in the week as well. It's not like we have a spectacular defense, a defensive line, a linebacking core where that's going to be the scenario where he's just benefiting off their pressures and whatnot. No, he's playing great coverage. I mean, he was until, unfortunately, he's on IR now.
That's something that you brought up a good point there, too, and that's something, even in my peewee days of playing football, that was the position that I played in. So I watched that position a little bit more tightly than maybe others. But that you bring up a good point. That was a big thing with Slay when he was here too. Is if you don't hear his name, it's probably a good sign. That means you're locking your guy down. The quarterback is not coming your way. They're trying to pick on maybe a different cornerback. So I love the Amani Oruwariye with my Lions Defensive Player of the Year. I'm sticking with Tracy Walker. So staying in the secondary. Tracy Walker has been a horse back there. He leads the team in tackles this year, solo and combined. And I love the way he plays football, man. Smash mouth. He's literally putting his body on the line. I forgot what game it was earlier this year. He actually knocked himself out and concussed himself.
I do remember that.
But it's just he was coming to lay the hit. And that's what I like seeing, is leaving it out all on the field. And he actually kind of reminds me of the guy we're going to have on here in a little bit, and Glover Quin.
Yeah, Glover Quin, speaking of Tracy Walker and Glover Quin, we spoke in the beginning of the season, and he's one of the guys that I saw as a promising piece of this Detroit Lions secondary earlier on in his career. And when Patricia came, we kind of saw that role and that prominence diminish a little bit. And Quinn reassured me that, hey, the promise you see in Tracy is still there. However, there's certain players that just don't work in certain systems, and we see it all the time. The biggest example I can think of, and this is just off the top of my head, is Albert Haynesworth. I don't know if you remember, he was the best defensive tackle when he was with the Tennessee Titans. He signed that big deal with the Redskins, and he just never panned out to be what he was when he was with Tennessee. And it's just, you see that, either it could have been a money situation though too.
You got paid finally.
Yeah. But albeit it still stays true is that certain systems work for certain guys. You're not going to take Tom Brady and put him in Lamar Jackson's offensive scheme and have the same success.
Yeah, I agree to that.
Despite what some people may say, because I'm Brady, but
yeah, it's the same. You haven't heard Sue in the media like in years past. I feel like he made the national news more when he was a Detroit Lion than versus when he went off to all these other teams.
It's because he was stomping on people. He's biting kneecaps, and we need him back. Yeah. I want Dominic Sue back.
Big Sue guy, huh?
Yes.
All right, who do you got for your Lions Offensive Player of the Year?
Offensive Player of the Year, I have to give it to Deandre Swift. At one point, things got so ugly for the Detroit Lions that it was kind of hard to watch. It wasn't that same excitement. Like, used to be, even though the Detroit Lions were playing and they weren't a great team, you at least know, hey, we might be close, we might lose in heartbreaking fashion, which, still happened, but the offense was so horrendous. And the one bright spot we had was DeAndre Swift. And at one point, I think for 4 weeks in a row up until the injury, he led the entire league in yards of scrimmage, yards from the line of scrimmage. It's passing, running the football. He was doing the damn thing. And, don't forget, he was splitting carries with Jamal Williams, like we said earlier. So for me, it's DeAndre Swift. I hope he does come back this week. Maybe not. I'd actually probably rather have him healthy for the full season next year. I don't want anything crazy to happen, but that's got to be my offensive MVP. What about you?
I got the same exact pick, and I get a lot of people are like, well, his last game was Week 11, Thanksgiving versus the Bears, and the guy still leads the team in touchdowns. Like, he hasn't played since then, and I get he wasn't here for your 2 wins against Arizona and Minnesota, but DeAndre Swift brings a different dynamic to this offense. I honestly hope he plays this weekend, and I hope Reynolds can get healthy, because I honestly want to see what this offense can do with all 3 of those guys in it. I think having Reynolds and St. Brown, emerging like he has, it opens up the field for DeAndre Swift to do even more.
You know how nasty, and when we've accredited Ben Johnson and gave him his flowers, not as much you could give flowers to John Madden, but Ben Johnson as a tight ends coach and getting creative with this Detroit Lions offense that was very stagnant for much of the year, and he put Amon-Ra St. Brown in that backfield. Imagine a healthy DeAndre Swift on the other side of that. Like, defense is going to be like, what do we do? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't double team. I don't think you double team a guy out of the backfield. I don't think I've ever seen that. If you put both those guys back there, it's going to get nasty.
Yeah.
It's going to confuse defenses.
It's weird, feel like getting this excited and the season's pretty much already over, but they're just finally starting to do some good stuff. But all right, who do you have? And I think we're going to kind of co-brand these guys for our special teams player of the year.
Jack Fox.
He's GOAT.
Yeah, dude, he's our second best quarterback. He's got better stats than Tim Boyle. Jack Fox, definitely special teams MVP. You look at our defense, and we've been very proud of what they've been able to produce, given what they've been coming to the game with, and maybe we credit some of that to Jack Fox, pinning those offenses back deeper than they'd like to be.
Yeah, and obviously you can't talk about Jack Fox, and this name has been kind of emerged around the same time St. Brown did too, and that's Riley Patterson, our new place kicker. What a find that has been. He still hasn't missed a field goal in his career, so that's a great start by at least Lions fans. It's crazy. Lions fans are so used to having good kickers like Jason Hansen, and then you had Matt Prater. Like, I think it's almost like a stress relief if you just have a guy that is gonna. Obviously, it is like when you step up there and make a field goal.
Yeah, we had, even before Jason Hansen, there was another great kicker that we had. I know Stick knows his name because he was born in the 40s, but I'm just kidding. But Fish, you might turn out as Michael. I'm just curious what the guy's name was. The kicker?
Who?
The one that Terry interviewed a couple weeks
Eddie
ago.
Murray.
Eddie Murray.
Eddie Murray. He was a hell of a kicker.
Yeah, Detroit Lions, man, historically just have great kickers. I do got to tell you about one thing, though. When they miss kicks, or actually when a kick was made by Justin Tucker, I had to drink, Nick. I had to drink over that one. I was very depressed, and I was wondering if what you recommended vodka in that situation.
There's only one thing to drink, and that's Gypsy vodka. The only vodka that's even out there anymore. This vodka is so good that they literally stopped making other vodkas. Now, you have to make a promise to drink responsibly, but you can get this vodka anywhere that you would like. You can go to Royal Oak Meyer that helped us with our Stuff Us studio. Do that for Meyer. Do that for Gypsy Vodka, and support the local guys. It's gluten-free vodka, man. It's healthy. It's it's the no. You got to get your Gypsy Vodka and mix it with that blue Kool-Aid. This is the bottom line.
Hey.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back to the bottom line. I'm your boy Eazy. I'm joined by the Motown Commish, Nick Leach. We got Fish in the Fishbowl. My man Stick on the deep end, aka the Woodshed. And if you guys are listening on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch, please do me a favor and hit that like button. You guys, some of you guys have been watching me since the basement, and you don't realize like just how big of an opportunity this is for me to have an opportunity to provide for my family, doing what I love, and something that I literally started from my basement. I love bringing content to you guys. I love being able to work with guys like Braylon or Monty, 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. Like, who else is bringing you guys Detroit sports content like this in video form with highlights, talking trash on YouTube, 24/7 access availability on podcast apps as well. Please hit that like button, man. We really appreciate it. But Nick, we found some positives in this Detroit Lions roster and how they've gone throughout the season, despite their record being pretty damn ugly. Who do you, if you had to, gun to your head, because I know the easy way out, and I know you're going to try to take it, is both, in the words of Gucci Mane, but who's more responsible for the success of we've seen out of this neuter team?
Oh, my God.
Brad Holmes, the guy choosing the groceries, or Dan Campbell, the guy cooking them up?
Why you got to put me in this position?
Why you got to be so rude?
So I am going with Brad Holmes. And you have to go with that is because of what we've seen out of the draft this year. There was no doubt after the opening press conference that Dan Campbell was going to be able to get these guys fired up. And we've had a few issues with, there's times during the season where we've had issues with the coaching a little bit and, making the transition, him being the offensive play caller now. But have there been any draft picks you really have an issue with? I know some of the chat will sit there and say Levi Onwuzurike maybe a little bit in the second round. But for the most part, bringing in undrafted rookies to play and make a difference on this team, like that's Brad Holmes. And that's Brad Holmes doing what he's supposed to do. And that's why you paid him. And that's why he was as well accomplished in Los Angeles before he got here. And that's why he's the GM of the Detroit Lions, is because he's known for drafting. And he's hit on a good majority of what he's already done in a short time here.
I agree. I actually, if you guys, again, haven't already, you're not following myself and Nick on Twitter, I put out a clip earlier in this week where I kind of said, hey, I don't care where we fall in this draft, because the confidence that I have is in Brad Holmes and his ability to find these players. We touched on, not even just the draft guys, we're talking about the unrestricted free agents, the undrafted free agents, I should say, that he's been able to grab. And, hey, we might see one emerge this week, too. Again, don't forget, Kadero Hodge is stepping in for Josh Reynolds this week. And if he pans out, if we see another good performance out of that kid, man, the answer's got to be Holmes. Now, the true answer is the easy answer, and it is both, because you can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying? And Dan Campbell's coaching staff has been amazing this year. And Corey Woods, our Detroit Lions beat reporter, he spoke on this multiple times where guys would be discussing things in press conferences. Guys, I mean the players. And, without hesitation, they bring up a Deuce Staley. They bring up a Aubrey Pleasant. You know what I'm saying? They bring up a AG. Like, those names come up because they're true leaders, and they're truly teaching these kids, what they need to know to hopefully be successful down the line.
Well, and Brad Holmes has kind of embodied the personality of Dan Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
And, you see him in the locker room. You celebrating with Amon-Ra St. Brown after that Cardinals win. Like, he gets just as fired up about these football games as Dan Campbell goes. So, like, when people are like, oh, like, that's weird, like, for your GM to be acting like that, like, I've seen Robert Kraft down on the field, and I get he owns the Patriots and stuff like that, especially when Sheila Ford was in the locker room. Like, I love that. Show me that you care. Like I said, I hate to bring it up all the time, but we went through a pretty dark era where it seemed like everyone was just doing their job to get paid. But, like, show me that passion. I'm a passionate type of dude. So I want to see you celebrating, even if it's only your first win or your second win of the season. Like, there's a long road ahead of you. So let's have some fun in the meantime and celebrate your wins. That's the right thing to do, I think, for the Detroit Lions and this fan base. This fan base is one of the most passionate, loyal fan bases you could ever ask to be a part of. And I get as much success or lack of success that this organization has had. I wouldn't want to be a part of another family like One Pride.
Woo! Preach, brother man. Preach. Amen. Lord. That's our social media clip of the day. That was fire, dog. Hey,
I got
came with it.
I got passionate, baby. That's what happens when you talk about Detroit and the sports here. Like, it's Detroit versus everybody. That's how I live my life. It's just who I am.
100%. And I agree. And I know someone on our network took a little bit of abuse because he kind of bashed that passion when he saw the owner down in the field, celebrating. But that's what I love to see. Show me you care. We have not seen that out of this franchise for years. We've been saying sell the team. You don't care about the team. That's why we're not having success. You don't give enough of a F to make things happen, to find the right pieces, to fire guys if they're not doing their damn job. Sheila Ford being down there and showing she cares, I'm pumped up about that. In the same way I am with Brad Holmes. When you see, like you said, you see him down there shaking Amon-Ra St. Brown. And Brad Holmes, that dude he's a big dude too. Like they know whole about him. And touching back on the excitement too. Like you look at when they drafted Penei Sewell and Ali McNeil, and they're in the draft room going crazy. And it touches on that passion. And again, it's the correct answer is both. Absolutely. Like, I'm not going to bash anyone for saying one or the other. It's not a huge debate that I'm trying to win, because the answer is both of them. And the fact that Brad Holmes does have that, though, like you said, it's in sync and matches with Dan Campbell, and I think that's why they can work in harmony.
Yeah, and like YT Sparty just said in the chat too, is they have remained competitive with no Pro Bowl players. None of these guys were elected to the team right off the bat. I get there's a few alternates and stuff like that, but like I said, like this, I wonder how the season would have gone if you had someone else at helm. Like, of how bad would this roster have been if Matt Patricia was still here? Like, he had a very talented roster and drove it into the ground. Like, that's what's crazy to me, is like he would have struggled immensely if he was dealt the roster that Dan Campbell was in his first year.
Absolutely, man. And go ahead, carry on real quick too, because I actually have to get with our buddy Glover and make sure he's got all the correct information. But if you were to answer Dan Campbell, give me what points you would have touched on that to convince somebody of that in that debate, if Dan Campbell was a more important piece.
I mean, if Dan Campbell was your guy, or even the chat, there might have been a few people in the chat sitting there saying you credit.
Yeah, what did they say in the chat?
They might have credit Dan Campbell. I haven't read back through all the messages, but Dan Campbell, there's nothing short of what Dan Campbell has done. Yes, was there a few times with play calling issues? Yeah, absolutely. Like, that was a struggle in itself. But as a first year head coach, where it's finally his team, he's not an interim head coach or anything like that. I wouldn't say I'm shocked that issues like that happen, but getting this team fired up and bringing the guys around him that he has, Deuce Staley, Aaron Glenn, Aubrey Pleasant, like, those are all huge key pieces into making sure that this thing moves in the right direction. So Brad Holmes has done just a great job too, recruiting his own coaching staff as well. So that can't fly under the radar either.
No, absolutely. And again, like I kind of touched back, if I were to convince somebody that was Dan Campbell, I don't think you'd even just speak on just Dan Campbell's name. You have to speak on this entire staff. It's like I was saying earlier, like Deuce Staley, Aubrey Pleasant, even Frank Haley, who actually was a part of Patricia's regime. We saw multiple pieces of this offensive line go down at times, and although Matt Nelson didn't look the greatest, let's remember he was actually a defensive end before he was the right tackle for the Detroit Lions, the backup right tackle of the Detroit Lions. And then you also look at the fact that we lost our starting center, Pro Bowl center, Frank Ragnow, which I have a cousin. I just got back, RIP, my beautiful cousin, Sandra, just got back from that funeral. But my cousin, Jay, we call him Big J for a reason, and he played center up at Northern Michigan. And he said, that position's way more intricate than you would think. At the center position, you're calling out blitzes. I'm saying you're letting guys know who they have to run. Like, you don't have to just know your assignment. You have to know everyone's assignment on that line. And losing a guy like that, but having Evan Brown step up and perform to, again, I spoke on this a little bit earlier this week too. Like, almost didn't notice. Like, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, and it's hard. And I'm looking at the chat right now. Ghostface says Aubrey Pleasant has been an absolute beast this season.
Yes.
One Pride 40 said we wouldn't have won a game with Patricia here, and that's all things I agree with too. And we knew this was going to be a hard season. Were people giving themselves expectations of 4 wins? Yeah, possibly. Like, that wasn't wrong to say. Like, there's a chance they could still hit that 4-win mark, but nonetheless, I'm excited to see what happens this offseason and look forward to taking a step towards the future.
1,000%, man. When we come back, we'll get connected with a former Pro Bowl safety in the Detroit Lions, for the Detroit Lions, Glover Quin. And dude,
just real quick, because I know we have to go to break, but like, do you remember like a lot of the clutch plays that this guy made? Remember the Saints game, like the last minute interception? Like he's had so many of these moments, man.
He was a hard hitter too, just like my boy Tracy Walker.
Dude, he was a dog, man. Glover Quin, definitely one of my favorites. But before we go to break, I'd like to tell you guys a little bit about Les Stanford Chevrolet. Find new roads. You know, if you're sick and tired of your car, you can turn it in and get cash for it at Les Stanford Chevrolet. You could buy your car outright, or you can lease it. Make sure you get in contact with Les Stanford Chevrolet. And let me give you the number. It's 313-565-6000. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Find new roads. The phone number is 313-565-6000. We'll be back with Pro Bowl safety Glover Quin.
Big names, bigger opinions. It's The Bottom Line on Woodward Sports.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer.
We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports. You want commercials? The other guys have those. You want great sports takes?
Touchdown! What a play!
Woodward Sports has those. Detroit's new sports outlet. The Woodward Sports Network.
And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Eazy. We in the building. My Bookie Studios. I'm with my partner and co-host, Nick Leach, a.k.a. the Motown Commish. We got Fish in the Fishbowl and a new face in the TD booth, and I'm putting him on the spot right now. But I love this man. I've known him for 2 months, but he's hilarious. He's giant. And he's an awesome human being. My man Spencer in the TD booth.
Welcome in, Spence.
What's going on? Happy to be here, guys.
If you guys don't know, Spencer is the size of a refrigerator, but I'm talking built though. You know what I'm saying? Not just the size of it. He's a beast. And once we get Studio B coming, man, we gotta do some speakeasy. People need to know who Spence is, man. He's a clown. I love him.
Hey, yeah, we got to give it to him, man. It's what the people want. So,
Eazy, what show does he run on our network?
Well, it's funny you ask, Fish. He actually runs Woodward Bets weekdays from 6 to 7.
Yeah, on the weekends too, actually. No cap. I've been making some good money with the MyBookie promo code and everywhere else too. But those guys, Chris Prince and Scott G. Risen, I'm telling you, they know what they're doing. And
they know how to make money.
They know how to make money, man. Everything I learned about betting so far this year, I'm brand new to it. I learned from them, especially those NBA props. COVID messing a couple things up. But Spence, you're in the TD booth. Can I ask you got our man GQ on the line?
Not yet. He's not in yet.
Okay. Well, let me tell you guys a little something about GQ, Glover Quin, number 27 for Detroit Lions. And before then, he's with the Texans. The reason why I wanted to have him on the show, Nick, is while I was grinding out in the basement, the Speakeasy podcast days, he was one of the interviews I was most excited for. But after talking to him, he's so smart, man. Like he was never, and he'll tell you this too. Like we spoke on it. He was never like the most like physically gifted. It was more a cerebral aspect of the game that he mastered, and he mastered it to such a level that he became a Pro Bowler. And so just to hear this man speak on the game of football, it's truly like rewarding, because you come away smarter and you can say things to your friends after that conversation. They'll be like, "Whoa, I can't argue that guy about," you know what I'm saying, because this guy knows his stuff. GQ's the man.
Well, it's kind of going to like you said, you were doing this out of your basement. You were a smaller podcast. Like this was something that like you were passionate about, and him taking the little time out of his day to kind of help you grow your audience. Like that's huge, and like you can't say enough great things about someone like that who has played professional football, who's been to a Pro Bowl, been around some of the most successful people to ever play the game. So even from just hearing that standpoint, like that just tells me all I need to know about GQ.
He really is a man. He's super down to earth. Like the other thing I'd say about him too is like after having that experience of him graciously giving us his presence on the Speakeasy podcast, is he continued to message back and forth from there on. And because the other thing cool about GQ, if you guys don't know, he started a podcast himself. He didn't really want to call it a podcast, more just a show. It's called the DB Room. He's had guys like Tyrann Mathieu on there. He's had Calvin Johnson, Darius Slay, and it's really cool getting to listen to these guys just talk football. And like it's purest form. And again, like I said, it's truly educational. And you can have guys that know a certain sport or know a certain thing, and they'll talk circles around you without you knowing what the hell they're saying. The thing about GQ is he articulates it. You know what I'm saying? He can break it down onto your level to where like you can understand. It is dope. One thing I will warn you about that I had to learn about, though, he's got that southern drawl. You know what I'm saying? So you never really know when he's actually done with a sentence. But GQ's the man, and I just said getting him hooked up with our system right now. Grace our presence again, because I want to ask him. I want to ask him about Kyle Hamilton.
It's your boy.
Yeah, can I get your take on that real quick?
I mean, Kyle Hamilton. For me, I know that you want him on the Detroit Lions, and there's no knocking his athletic ability and what he's done at Notre Dame this year. I think one of my favorite clips that I've seen out of him is he was on the opposite side of the field, and I forgot who they were playing against, but the quarterback was rolling out, and he made an interception literally on the opposite side of where he was supposed to be covering, because his man was coming across the field. And having an athletic ability about that, he can come up all the way from the safety position and smoke a running back in a hole. Like, that is all important things that, one, he can contribute to the Lions, but like, not to obviously get rid of a guy like Tracy Walker. He could be a great complement to a guy like that, especially if you're running a big cover two defense.
No, 100%. He's having a little bit of technical difficulties. He's trying to work him through it while obviously broadcasting here for you guys live. The Detroit Lions took my man Kyle Hamilton at 2, which is where they're at right now. What are your true emotions? Like, what do you truly feel your emotions would be in that situation?
We talked about it on the show yesterday. You need pass rush. You have to get a guy that's going to get back to the quarterback and an offensive line that you're afraid that he's going to get there. Like, you look at a name that you brought up earlier, a guy like Nick Bosa, who Penei Sewell actually did a great job at shutting down. But a lot of these great defenses have that type of guy. Look at the New England defense and bringing over Matt Judon. He's been a force over there with the Patriots this year. But I just think in order for yourself, like you've talked about it, like with Aaron Rodgers being able to kind of sit around and float around the pocket, like if you get a guy that can truly disrupt the passing game, like you're setting yourself up for so much better success, and it helps your secondary that much better, and a secondary that I think's done a very good job for the hand that they've been dealt this year.
100% agree, man. Do you want to hit the chat real quick, see what these guys are saying about the Kyle Hamilton and GQ? I'm trying to get GQ hooked up on the link. I'm gonna show Spencer what it's showing him.
My guy, One Pride 40, says inject Hamilton in his veins. So I'm not sure if he's talking about your veins or his veins. Benjamin Foe says Kyle Hamilton sounds like a NASCAR driver, which I actually grew up a NASCAR fan, and that is a very safe bet. And then One Pride 40 again says every defense has a safety. So like I said, at 2, if the Lions had a draft pick that was a little bit down the board, maybe around the 5 to 10 range, I wouldn't be necessarily opposed to that. But like, you have the bias of the Jeff Okudah going at 3 just a couple years ago. So I don't know if you'll really keep a fan base happy if you take a defensive back that high. And then the chat's really getting going. Matt Carey said Hamilton can't go as high as a number 2, which I agree with. I think Tibbs and Hutchinson already have that 1 and 2 pick locked up. It's just a matter of who's going to go in front of the other one.
So we spoke earlier in this week, and we were talking about how, like, you can't really give into the hype of the media and who they're hyping up as like the 1 and 2, and like I truly believe that to its core. And this is a guy that you personally believe in, yeah. But the guy that I personally believe in this year is Kyle Hamilton. Like, you look at guys 1 and 2. How many guys have we taken as a Detroit Lions franchise 1 and 2? And look at where we're at right now. You know what I'm saying?
Matthew Stafford went 1.
Okay, keep going. I mean, the point is, though, like the number 1 and number 2 pick, like, doesn't always pan out. Like, there's this thing where they talk about like the positions and the value it has just because of that position. But what truly matters is that person and position's production on the field.
So let me ask you this question real quick then. Do you value a defensive back over a defensive lineman?
It's not that I value a defensive back over a defensive lineman. I just think that this defensive back is more of a sure product than, Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson.
Ooh, that is a bold statement out of Eazy.
It's really not, though, because Kayvon, where does he play? Pac-12, right? That's a pass-heavy conference. He should have way more sacks than he has right now if he's as good as they say. So
a name that comes to mind when I think of Kyle Hamilton a little bit, and I get he's a bit different, but Isaiah Simmons, that was at Clemson, who a lot of people, were on the Simmons bandwagon over Okudah. And for me, Simmons has been solid for Arizona. There's definitely there's definitely been nothing, I think, terribly wrong with him. But when you look at a guy like Isaiah Simmons, Hamilton, like for drafting a guy that high, I think he has to have as big of an impact as like Trayvon Diggs has done in Dallas, or even Micah Parsons at that linebacker. And look where they got those guys. They got those guys at 10 or 11.
See, the thing is, though, with Kyle Hamilton is he's so good, he's not going to be at a 10 or 11. You're not going to see him there. Like, and talking about like the true value of a pick. I mean, I touched on our franchise, Detroit Lions, they're picking ourselves. Joey Harrington, number 3 overall pick, same draft class as Ed Reed. Would you ever rather take in Joey Harrington just because he's a quarterback and that holds more value, or would you, looking back at it, no, hell no, I'm taking Ed Reed. That's the for sure pick.
Yeah, but everyone thought, at the time though, everyone thought Joey was the right pick. So that's. I get it's so much easier to go
12.
back. No, it's way easier to go back and look at a draft. Like, well, that person didn't pan out there, but sitting up here, like we can't go back and look to see what Hutchinson or Thibodeau are going to do versus Kyle Hamilton. Like you have to go through what you've seen already in college. And I believe I may mistake this, but I think both Bosa brothers were taken number 1 overall, and those guys were big defensive ends that have made huge difference on both of their teams.
Both guys, and our Michigan's own Braylon Edwards, who sits in my chair regularly from 2 to 4, would tell you that both those men are physical specimens versus what you see out of Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson's more drive, more grit. But I want to get a safety on here with you guys real quick. Can we hit a real quick break just so we can get have a full conversation with him? I appreciate that. We'll be right back with Pro Bowl safety Glover Quin.
You know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
What up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Easy. We are back on the bottom line. I'm with my man, the Motown commish, Nick Leach, my man, Fish in the Fishbowl, and we got Big Spence in the TD booth. However, wherever you guys are listening, please smash that like button. Like the Detroit Lions are going to do Russell Wilson. And there's no offensive line having. Hit that like button. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you are. And don't forget, you guys got to hit the road. Obviously, we have our own Woodward Sports app that you could join. And we're on the radio. 99.1 FM, 93.5 FM. What shout out to my man Sip Newski from my TV and broadcasting class. Actually caught us on the radio last night, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he sent you a Snapchat or something like that.
Yeah, sent me a Snapchat.
You got recognized last night too, by the way.
I did get recognized.
You're famous now, dude. Yeah. Congratulations.
Shout out to my man Ken, the manager over at Qdoba. That was a super cool experience for myself. However, Ken, you did make me pay for my food, man. I'm saying,
you ain't that famous yet, man.
Yeah, it's not that big of a fan. But my man Spence, I see your hand going up, and I know you wanted to make a comment on the safety talk, and I know we're on the Glover Quin. What's the update?
Yeah, I just think with 1 or 2 draft pick, you need one of the 3 positions that involves a quarterback. You either need to take a quarterback, you need to take a guy that protects the quarterback and left tackle, or you need to take a guy that rushes a quarterback in the defensive end, because those 3 positions mean so much in today's NFL. And I think when you're that high in the draft, you can't afford to miss on a game-changing talent in one of those positions.
See, Spence got my back here.
So I think it goes game-changing talent at any position. You want someone who's going to be able to change the game. And Spence, if you can find it there, we actually have some film on my boy Kyle Hamilton there. The one I want to touch on specifically is this play he made against Florida State University. Hopefully we get it up here. This is a game changer because I don't know if it's going to show it in the tape that I chose to get played, but this wasn't the first interception of the game nor the first play he made. Florida State's no Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're a respectable school, and they have been. Cornerback greats come there from all the time. But Kyle Hamilton is a freak, man. He's truly like something special and something different. I guarantee you, if you had put on like the film and ran through it, you'd say, yeah, dude, actually, this makes sense.
All right, let's get our boy GQ on and get his opinion.
We got GQ. What up, though?
What up, man?
What up, man? Oh,
I'm chilling, man. How y'all?
You gotta hit his bus B. for the sound.
Am I good?
You're good. I think it's on our end. We got to turn up the. We got to get some audio in here. Hopefully our man Spence.
Do I need to turn my phone up?
Do you remember the days of GQ playing here in Detroit?
Hell yeah, I remember the days of GQ playing here in Detroit, man. Pro Bowl safety.
Yeah.
that was the best defense of my lifetime, honestly. The 2014 Detroit Lions, man.
I just felt like anytime you saw that 27 come up from the secondary, watch out, boy. You know you're about to get hit hard.
More than that, you might get the ball picked.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Some kind of way I'm trying to take
working on the sound here. I think Fish, maybe you can grab Sawyer. There's nothing. GQ, I apologize, man. It's not you. It's something's been going on with our system all day, for at least for our earbuds. But actually, real quick, if you want to say something, I'm gonna see if the audience can hear you. If anybody in the YouTube comments, because I'll just let you talk.
Can y'all hear me?
Can you hear us?
Can y'all hear me?
I can't hear you. No.
I can hear y'all. I'm gonna take my headphones out. Can y'all hear me now?
That's all right. Honestly, I think it's on our end. Fish, is Sawyer still here? Oh, dang.
All right, we'll come back to GQ if we can get him on. So, obviously, it's those times in Detroit when he was here for a bit. That was some of the most prominent teams here in Detroit. So
the audience can hear GQ. It's just us. If that helps.
Yeah, I
mean, shoot, I kind of. I might turn up on my. I might GQ real quick. What is your take on? I don't know if you got to hear the discussion we were having. My man Nick is saying, "Hey, you got to
hear me?
We can't hear you, but the audience can." So I'm gonna ask you and have you drop your knowledge either way, because I admire everything you got to say, and I'm a low key listen from the phone. You know what I'm saying? But with taking a certain position, that high in the draft, like, does the position truly matter over the caliber of talent and player that you have?
I mean, I think, when you're that high in the draft, you want guys that's going to help your football team get better. And depending on what position that is, depending on what scheme or system that you're trying to run, that depends on the guy that you need to take. I wouldn't necessarily say there's one position that's off limits to take that high in the draft. It just all depends on what your team needs. So if you feel like a game-changing safety will make your team better, then I don't think there's a problem with drafting a safety that high in the draft. If you feel like it's a center or left tackle or whoever it is that will make my team better, I think that's what you have to go with. I think so many times, fans at least get caught up on the sexy pick or the quarterback or the wide receiver or somebody like that early in the draft, as opposed to whoever that team feels like player can help their team become better. And so you don't really see a lot of safeties taking that high. You don't see a lot of the O-lineman guys taking that high. But if that helps the team gets better, then I don't think there's a way to.
Now, I sent you like a YouTube clip of my man Kyle Hamilton. I don't know if you're able to look at any of his plays, but Spence, do you have those highlights you could run as an overlay possibly?
No, Spence just said he doesn't have.
He has the highlights.
Wait, you sent it to me? Where you sent it to me at? Oh, you sent it to me in IG.
I can't hear you. I apologize. I'm delayed from the phone. I apologize. But I don't know. I just a guy like that, man. I feel like a playmaker. I guess more than anything. You know what I'm saying is what I'm sold on. Is my take on it. What do you look for in a safety? I guess when evaluating safeties, GQ, to see if there's something special there, or is it just something you kind of have to wait on and hope for the best?
Well, I think like I said, it all depends on your system. Because you want game changers. You want guys that can change the game. And from the safety position, I was the type of guy, I wanted to change the game by getting the ball. Like, I wanted interceptions. I wanted fumbles. I wanted those different things. I really didn't care about sacks. I used to tell, we would have different DB blitzes or things called where I would possibly have to blitz. I would tell the other guy, you can go and blitz because they don't pay me to sack the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? They pay the D linemen and those guys to sack the quarterback. They pay me to get the ball. So I wanted opportunities to get the ball, get interceptions, and make big plays like that. But then you have some safeties who are really good in the box, and they can tackle in there. They can cover tight ends. They can blitz the quarterback and do things like that. And if that's what your system needs, then I feel like that's what you got to go for. But I don't feel like you should take a guy that's a box safety, a blitzer, that type of guy, and expect him to be a ball hawk when he gets in the game because you want him to change the game or turn the ball over. That's not his game, But I don't think you should take a game changer that's a ball hawk and expect him to be in the box, playing like a linebacker. I think you got to understand who you're getting, know what you're getting, and know what you're expecting him to do. And as long as he come in and do that and do what you expect, and I think, I think you should be happy with your pick. And, hopefully it'll work out for you. But I think a lot of it is just creating the expectations for what you expect from that player and holding them to that.
Yeah, and real quick too, because we are having the sound delay, and I am gonna let you go here soon. I'm gonna get back here after the show. But your teammate Calvin Johnson, one of the greatest wide receivers to play the game, he broke a record here in Detroit, most receiving yards of any receiver in any single season. We're seeing Cooper Kupp, might be able to surpass that, and he's not doing the same fashion as Calvin did. Calvin had double coverage, triple coverage at times. I mean, you went against him in practice. You know how bad that man was. And Cooper Kupp also has the extra game in his back pocket. Give me your take, and I guess what do you think of that record possibly being broken this year by Cooper Kupp?
I mean, I think anytime you can just, break a record like that, it's special. I mean, regardless of how it's looked at. I know, like you said, people will look at it in the sense of, Calvin he done it this way, Cooper Kupp done it that way. It's an extra game. And I think the extra game does, play a factor in it. And I'm sure, with the stats guys, they will make note that, Calvin's record was done in 16 games and, Kupp's will be done in 17 games. But, anytime you can catch that many passes and get that many yards over the course of the season, it speaks to a lot of different things. You're staying healthy, you're being consistent week in and week out. And at some point, you have to assume that the defenses are trying to stop you. Although I do, when I see a lot of the Rams games, it's like Cooper Kupp is running wide open, like the other team hasn't watched film and realized that this is the guy that Matthew Stafford loves throwing the ball to. Like, you should probably cover that guy and make him throw it to, San or something. But I mean, to be able to do that, to go down in the record books as one of the greats and surpass Megatron in that sense, I think it'll be special for Cooper Kupp. But like I said, I think a lot of people look at it differently because of the magnitude of how Calvin Johnson had to do it. Man, I can't hear y'all, man. Y'all muted me. I can't hear y'all. Y'all muted me. Y'all muted me. Y'all muted me.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
You know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 five-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
What up, though? Welcome back to the bottom line. I don't know if we're still having technical difficulties. I'm just kind of out here now, just surviving and thriving, man. We'll head on to the next topic, man. So, shouts out to GQ. Can they hear us again? I'm still seeing comments in the section, but I know YouTube's also a little bit delayed.
I can hear you.
Nick, you wanted to talk about the Detroit Pistons and Detroit Red Wings. We're kind of spinning the show a little bit away from football, but deservedly so. The Detroit Red Wings are the only winning team in Detroit right now in the past couple of years.
Yeah, so I think it's fair to, give a little bit of an update for the other teams that, are playing. The Pistons are supposed to take on the New York Knicks. Obviously, the Pistons season has not gone the way that we've wanted it to. They're 5-27 on the year. The Knicks are 5-18. But if you go up and down this list and look at how many guys are out with COVID, you've got Killian Hayes, Cade Cunningham, Isaiah Stewart, Saban Lee, Josh Jackson, Trey Lyles. The list has just gone on, and it's been so brutal, to watch the Pistons game right now because they are bringing up a lot of G League guys, and it is cool to see a guy like Derek Walton, get a start for the Detroit Pistons. He's from this area, but it's been so weird, like this was a team that we were supposed to be extremely excited about, and then now it seems like everything's been put on hold, and kind of flipping the script over to the NHL. The Red Wings haven't played since December 18th. Like, that was the last time that they've played a hockey game, and they had another game against the Islanders get postponed. So it's just like you're sitting here wondering is like, which league is kind of handling this COVID situation better? Is it the NHL or is it the NBA?
Oh, it's definitely hands down. It's tough, man. It's really tough because you do have to, proceed with these games and get results to kind of carry on and move on. And it is what it is. The NFL put in a certain protocol where games are supposed to be forfeited in a lot of these situations. However, it's all about money. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's always all about money, and that's why you still see the NBA carrying on with these games. They know they probably they look at these games how they're scheduled out and who's already bought tickets, and it's got to be the case why they're still playing these games because I guarantee you no one's buying a ticket, no disrespect, but to go see Derek Walton Jr. Run point for the Detroit Pistons. Yeah,
I think looking at it from a standpoint, too, of product of what you're putting out there is like the NBA doesn't seem to care as much that, you've got a lot of these guys just coming on 10-day contracts and guys that we haven't even seen, though. Like, it's almost like a tryout for some of these guys, like Brandon Knight played the other night, Greg Monroe, guys that we're used to, that we've seen here in Detroit play. And I guess you could say for the NHL, they do have the Olympic break that was supposed to be scheduled off for their players so they could go play for their Olympic teams. But now it's looking like that's going to be an area where they make up a good majority of these games at.
It's really tough as a fan of these teams too, because I truly want to especially not only just fans, but as guys who really talk about sports for their job, you want to be able to discuss these teams and what you think of them, and especially the situation that we're in now with both teams and kind of the whole city and all the franchises. A lot of young pieces, and you want to see how they're going to develop down the line, and you want to be able to, I guess, speak on them fairly, But just throw a wrench in those plans, man.
Yeah, you almost get, not that I'm necessarily too worried because they are great players, and like Lucas Raymond and Mo Sider, two guys that have been playing great hockey for the Red Wings all year, and now they've been put on a pause for almost 2-3 weeks now. And you just hope that doesn't, one, hurt them, but at the same time, two, these guys are going to play a lot more games than they're used to playing in an entire season. So I just hope from the standpoint that maybe it does give some of these guys time, like a guy like Jacob Verana, who was going to miss a good majority of this first part of the season. Now if you're making that back up on the back half where that Olympic break was supposed to be in February, not necessarily it works out for the best, but it's also weird too, because now a lot of these leagues are starting to change their protocol, is saying that if a player is vaccinated, that maybe they only have to stay away for 5 days as long as they test negative. So it's definitely still a crazy world that we're living in. You like I said, you have the one league that's still playing all these games versus a league that's not. I would like to see which league is going to fare out better than the other. I don't know necessarily. It's hard to judge right now, but like I said, I would much rather just not watch the game from the NHL standpoint versus having like the AHL team and kind of what they're doing with the Pistons and in the NBA right now.
If I'm being honest with you, though, like I feel like hockey would be the sport that you would want to see the G leaguers and whatnot, because that is our draft crop. The NHL is not like the NBA where your rookies are on the 15-man roster right away. NHL, like we've seen Lucas Raymond and Mo Seider, this is their rookie year technically, yes, but they've been drafted by the Red Wings a couple years prior. So like, I guess if I were the NHL, I probably would take the NBA route, just so fans of their teams can see what they got growing in the minors.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And it's. I want to watch, like if I'm going to tune in for Pistons, if I'm a fan, and some of the people have been talking about it in the chat as well too, is that, it's, you have the third strings in there, and that's what you can even go with, like what's happened with the Lions, having Tim Boyle come in and start, like that's not the best product you're going to get out of them. And, I almost would wonder if the NBA would handle the situation a little bit different. I know Kevin Durant went on that protocol, Kyrie a little bit. If more of their quote-unquote star players were having this issue, but it's crazy to me. It's just like they're just going forth with the schedule, and not, maybe it's because they don't have that room to make up these games.
Yeah, man, it's truly like about the money at the end of the day. It is what it is. I can't do anything to fix it, much like the audio earlier. We were kind of just stuck with what we got going on. But I have no desire to tune into a Pistons game when, one, I don't know who these guys are. Two, there's not a future for them on this roster, unless obviously they ball out. But the NBA is a lot different than like NFL and stuff like that. You either have it or you don't, and we know a lot earlier than we do. It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I guess moving forward is, who knows, maybe this break for a lot of the Pistons players, and it's been going on the record as a lot of these guys are either asymptomatic or not really having too many issues with the COVID thing. Thank the heavens for that. I'll be interested to see if does it bring back the Pistons? They they kind of get a restart when Cade comes back, and a few of these other pieces. I get you're without Jeremy Grant for a while and Kelly Olynyk, but to me, that's what I'll be looking for. Is I feel like most Piston fans, and I can honestly sit here and say that you're really only kind of watching one player. I get like Sadiq, I'm also watching as well, and he's done all that he can to try to help carry this team while all of these guys are at headband Sadiq as he's going around now. So I'm just ready for the whole COVID thing to go away. And obviously with winter, that was kind of one of our worries getting into this time of the season. So that's why we just need summer all year around.
I do agree. You need some summer all year round. It sucks.
But I mean, obviously you as the new Red Wings fan, how much have you missed like not having this team on, or at least not being able to watch the coveted rookie Cade Cunningham for the Pistons?
It truly delays my my like fandom, I guess, for the sport. Like when you finally pressing the metal on it, you're not slamming the brakes. You're taking in as much as you can, and it's halted. And not only that, when they do come around, you don't see the guys you want to see play. The Cade Cunningham stuff, I kind of feel strongly about Cade, and I know he's going to be successful and a good piece of the Detroit Pistons franchise for years to come. I'm completely satisfied with what Cade Cunningham is now, because and what he could possibly become. I think him now is like his basement, and that's still a pretty damn good NBA player. Where it sucks is in guys like Killian Hayes, where we haven't seen him play a full season, and we're still like really iffy on what he is and what he may be. And we have guys in the second year of pro basketball already talking about trading him away from the team, when we've had examples like Chris Middleton and who's tons of them that have left the Pistons and gone on to become all-stars or just experience at least some success. And that's where it sucks.
Yeah, You hate seeing that, but at the same time, too, as long as they're a guy that, gave it their all here, not Blake Griffin, you don't mind seeing guys like that find success, especially for like that Chris Middleton case that you talked about. He wasn't getting much playing time when he was here, and then he's truly evolved into a great compliment to Giannis. So for me, you have to be absolutely happy for guys like that. I'm never going to get mad or seeing a guy upset. I know same, you can go back to the Stafford conversation as well, but I'm just ready to see this Pistons team back. As much struggles as they've had this year, at least it's been fun to kind of watch Cade's development, and that's been something, and you haven't even been able to do that. Yeah,
and speaking about the Detroit Pistons too, I do want to remind you guys tomorrow, hopefully we don't have the issues that we had today, but we will have James Edwards on the show to talk a little bit about the Detroit Pistons. I'm kind of curious to ask him, I guess, again, touch on the Killian Hayes thing. I think it's a little bit too early to discuss trades with him. Like, again, it's just a second year. I don't know if up to this point he's even played an entire NBA season, talking about the 82-game slate. And you have to give these guys time to develop. Another thing I want to mention with Killian Hayes is on that point on trading him, and I guess I probably could save this for tomorrow, but he's not getting paid a lot of money. There's a small market team here in Detroit. We're not going to get the hottest free agents. A guy doesn't have to be a superstar to be a starting point guard on the team. Sometimes guys are just role players. And I think one thing that is for certain out of Killian that we've seen is he can play some damn good defense.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to keep him here just for that. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of defense, I know we had our little bit of technical issues. Why don't you go ahead and give us the defense that matters with Guardian Alarm?
Guardian Alarm. Let me tell you one more again about Guardian Alarm. Simple, man. It has an app you guys control everything from. You control your lights, your temperature, your carbon monoxide, unlock your doors. And it's the easiest way to sign up, too. You dial this phone number, Nick. It's 1-800.
Stay out!
1-800.
Stay out!
1-800.
Stay out!
Get out my house.
We'll be back. It's the bottom line.
Okay, you thirsty little spin goblins. I want you to pedal into the next dimension. Spin it! Spin! Spin! Uh-oh! Carmen's falling behind. Let's give her the hiss of shame. Spin! Spin! Spin till you bleed!
Don't ride the bike of shame. Come to Planet Fitness and find your own lane with tons of equipment, free fitness training, and no hissing. Join today for just $10 a month.
Welcome back to the bottom line. I am Nick Leach, joined by my brother, Eazy. We are filling in for Ryan Armani and Braylon Edwards. And I know you guys have missed Braylon Edwards. I see it in the chat. So, good news for you is this Friday, we've got our Michigan Orange Bowl game pregame show, and you can see Braylon Edwards along with Stick, along with Adam, and they're going to do a whole 2 hours for that coveted Orange Bowl. So you can watch Michigan take on Georgia. It will be live on the Woodward Sports channels with our YouTube, our Twitch, our Twitter, and make sure you are watching the official Sports Michigan versus Georgia pregame. They're going to have tons of fun with that, having the greatest Michigan receiver of all time on that broadcast. What could be better than that?
Absolutely Newton. You can be better than that. I'm excited to have Braylon back and talk about some Michigan football. We truly do want to bring guys some Michigan football content. We just been waiting to be able to tag team our man Braylon. I don't feel just as justified as him speaking on the Michigan football team. And the one time I did, which is yesterday, when we put the clip on social media, these Michigan fans, man, already attacking me.
You better never say anything bad about those Wolverines.
I tell you what, man, the way they see it, the Wolverines will win the national championship and the Super Bowl. These dudes crazy. All I said to this guy too, I was like on the clip, and shouts out to him. We made peace, I think, at least. He sent me a laughing gift when I reacted to him. But I said they don't have the greatest offense, which is true. It's not the greatest offense, and he spun into something totally different. But nonetheless, we have Braylon feeding you guys that Kool-Aid. Just shovel it in your mouth as much as you want, But we got another segment coming up called Facts or Fandom. Speaking of that Kool-Aid, it kind of varies our opinions a little bit. Sometimes we may see a Killian Hayes, and maybe I'm wrong in saying don't trade him because I got that Detroit Pistons Kool-Aid in my system, and I think he's going to be a stud. You made a list for us.
I did, and it's fine.
Fandom.
Again, end of the year. We're celebrating the end of the year. It's time to look towards the new year. And 2022, looks promising for a couple of these teams. So, first one on our list for you, Easy. Fact or fandom? The Red Wings and Tigers will make the playoffs in 2022.
2022 facts.
Ooh, okay. So you're going to say the Tigers and the Red Wings both make the playoffs next year.
For baseball, it's a lot harder just because it's truly sporadic. That's why you don't see too many back-to-back champions. I think we had the discussion a while back. But for the Red Wings, I mean, they're on the fringe right now. And, we see a guy like Lucas Seider coming up and playing at 1 year after being drafted. Obviously Stevie Y knows what he's doing. He's not ashamed to get to wheeling and dealing either. So, like, yeah, I can see the Detroit Red Wings in the playoffs as soon as next year.
All right. I appreciate that. So my answer to that is I'm saying fandom. So as much as I love the Red Wings, as much as I love Lucas Raymond and Mo Seider and what they've brought to the table, I just think the East in the NHL is such a tough division or a tough conference to compete with. They're in that wild card spot right now. We've seen glimpses of them this season where they slip. I'll be curious how they come back after the COVID pause in the NHL. But I do actually think the Tigers get into a wild card spot next year in that AL Central. So I don't know if they'll actually win the AL Central over the Washington or the White Sox, Chicago White Sox. But I do at least like to think that one of these teams are going to do it, and I get more trust in the Tigers now just because of the pieces that they've added with Eduardo Rodriguez, Javier Baez. They've definitely made this team better, and I think you'll see at least one of the two rookies with Riley Green next year, who's now actually ahead of Spencer Torkelson in the MLB pipeline. But I think there's a chance we see one of those guys, if not both of them next year, who I think are going to be kind of on the same not pedestal, but maybe same line as what Raymond and Seider have contributed for the Red Wings this year.
And so why don't you think the Red Wings will make it again?
I just think the Eastern Conference is too competitive, and there's been most of the production for the Red Wings has been from that top line. And as we get deeper into the season, teams are going to figure out how to play them a little bit better, even though they really haven't so far this season. So I just haven't seen enough production out of lines 2, 3, and 4. Vladimir Nemestikov has been awesome up until the pause, but I think they come close. I do think they flirt with that, but I think they miss it by just a hair.
Fish, my man Spence in the woodshed. He's a hockey fan. I kind of want to get his take on this one. Is that facts or fandom? Can you see both the Detroit Tigers and the Detroit Red Wings making the playoffs in 2022?
I can see it. I think it's harder for the Tigers to make it because I think the Red Wings have established really what they're going for right now, and they're pushing towards the playoffs this year. So I think if they can make another step forward next year, I can definitely see them right in the hunt of that playoffs. But the Tigers, the jury's still out. Yeah, they looked good last year. Nobody thought they were going to look that good. But I think it's important that we get these young guys in there and actually see what they can do before we start telling them that they're going to make the playoffs.
All right, Nick. Give another fact or fandom on this list.
You ready for this one?
Let me see.
The Pistons will receive the #1 overall pick again. Facts or fandom?
Fandom. We already got so damn lucky that we got that thing last year. As a Pistons fan, you become a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to this lottery. And now as a Red Wings fan too, they've been getting done dirty too. But it would just be too good to be true. There's things that you have to believe in, and you don't say it's too good to be true because you can manifest it into reality and happening. But this ain't that. This is a lottery, like a literal lottery.
Yeah, and I've had my beef with the lotteries for a long time. So I'm going fandom for this one as well. Even though the Pistons currently have or tied for the best odds of getting that pick again, I just think it would be too good to be true. I don't know anybody that's ever won the lottery twice, so I don't think it's going to happen for our Pistons. Even though Cleveland, a couple years ago, I'm not sure if they did it back-to-back or they did it twice in 2 years, but somehow that team got very lucky, and at the time they only had 0.7% chance.
They still blew it. Anthony Bennett, Kyrie Irving, and then I think there's another guy.
Andrew Wiggins.
Too. Andrew Wiggins. Yep. Yeah. Spencer, fact or fandom? Detroit Pistons #1 overall pick for 2022.
I think it's a fact. I think they're in the position they are now, and the NBA lottery is not like the NHL lottery. Like the NHL lottery is stupid, and it makes no sense at all. The NBA lottery, it's normally at least one of the top 3 teams that deserve the pick that it goes to, and so I think the Pistons being the worst team in the league this year, I love them, but that's what they are. I think they're going to get that first pick again.
All right, I like the facts for that there, Spence. Someone had to do it.
Remember I was talking about the Kool-Aid before you jumped into the segment? Like, Spence was just dumping it all over me. I'm like, yeah, dude, we're going to playoffs, we're going to #1 pick. I love it.
You ready for my next one?
Yes.
Fact or fandom? The Lions win 8 games next year.
I almost wish that we still had the graphic from yesterday to look at. 8 games. You know what? I'm a realist when it comes to Detroit Lions. I've heard people's feelings speak on the Detroit Lions, but I'm gonna say fact. I'm gonna say fact, man. You see a lot more often than the NFL than any other sport that teams go from worst to first. I think if Dan Campbell, let's not forget. Yes, there's only 2 wins in this season, but please let's remember the injuries, and please let's remember another year of Brad Holmes ushering in a draft class with some extra cap space. He was running with a very, very thin cap space in this offseason. And I spoke on this again earlier this week, and I apologize to sound like a broken record saying that, but we had to sign Jared Goff was originally slotted to make only $25 million next year. We had to sign $5 million into next year, an additional $5 million to sign our rookie draft class. That's not the case this year. Brad Holmes, the guy that we've both said on this stage that we have faith in, has a lot more cap space to go shopping with in that free agency. And another draft class to usher in, and a fresh slate with a healthy roster.
All right.
Facts.
I'm going fandom on this one. I as much as I want to say facts on this, and they were 10. I think they're 10-5 against the spread this year, which has been awesome. That means they're playing pretty close games for the most part. I think the 9 of their games this season have been within a 1-score game, so they're at least competing. I think realistically the number for this team next year is 6. You got to at least maybe get to 6, and if you get to 7 wins, then that's another step in the right direction. But 8 would be that would be a home run for Lions fans, and obviously I want that to happen. I'm very hopeful, but I think 6 is more the realistic number here.
Definitely realistic. I just don't think 8's out of the question, considering again, we see what he's done with chicken poop, and next year he's getting his chicken soup back. Well, I'm gonna go pass it over to my man in the deep end, the woodshed, Big Spence. Fact or fandom? Detroit Lions 8 wins.
That is absolute fandom. There is no way this Detroit Lions team wins 8 games next year. I know we had some close calls, and you could say if a play went this way or a play went that way, we could have 2 or 3 more wins. But this team is not talented enough to win 8 games in the NFL, and they will not be talented enough next year to win 8 games in the NFL. I love the Lions, but I predicted them before the season started to go 2-14-1. That was my season prediction, and it's going to happen.
He did. As much as people think that might be blowing smoke up you know what? He has it actually screenshot on Facebook. So that is, if that happens, Spence, you might want to go play that. Let's go down to the casino, Spence.
Hey man, I could hit Greektown any day. Put me on that blackjack table.
All right, let's get to this last topic before we got to hit a break. My last fact or fandom: Michigan returns to the college football playoff next year. Fact or fandom?
Fandom. The identity and the presence of everything about this Michigan defense, and from the defensive coordinator Mike McDonald himself, has been Aiden Hutchinson and his drive and focus that he brings to this team. He is an absolute leader and grinder for these guys. Yes, they have a lot of pieces that are flashy, but let's not forget 2 of those pieces, the biggest pieces in my opinion, Ojabo and Hutchinson, can very well become professional football players after the 2022 draft. So fandom in my opinion.
Oh, I'm going against you again on this one. I think it's a fact. I get C.J. Stroud's going back to Ohio State for another season, but you just saw Olave and Garrett Wilson declare for the draft, so that team's definitely not as scary as it once was. You get Hassan Haskins back for another year. I believe Blake Corum is gone, if I'm not mistaken, from that standpoint. But like I said, I think Michigan can be, that force to reckon with in the Big Ten, and that's coming from somebody that roots for Michigan State. But you're going to get better recruits now that you've played in this playoff format, and especially if these guys make it to a national championship. Think about what the confidence it's going to do for all of the returning starters. For a guy like Cade McNamara, who's probably going to be back again next year, J.J. McCarthy's going to be there. So you get a lot, and Ronnie Bell. I mean, I believe he can take an injury redshirt this year as well too. So a lot of these good offensive pieces that we've seen for the Michigan Wolverines are going to return.
What's the strength of that team, though?
I know but you got Mike McDonald. You have your defensive coordinator. I get Ojabo and Hutchinson, but that's why you recruit. That's why I'm sure there's going to be another guy that is going to be able to step up and fill that role. I'm a big fan of Daxton Hill from the secondary position. He's grown a lot this entire season, so don't be surprised if Michigan's around for a while here.
Just like I do at 12 a.m. when I'm not making graphics, I check the fridge. Spence, facts or fandom?
You know, I'm an MSU alum, so it's hard for me to be unbiased about this, but I think it's facts, honestly. I think you know, Michigan's got a lot going for it. They can put in guys to rush that quarterback just as well as, you know, Hutchinson and Ajabo did if they keep the pressure on him. And their offense isn't going anywhere. They got those two tall receivers in their recruiting class, like 2 6'5" receivers they got coming in. They got Edwards, they got Andrell Anthony, who looked great at the end of the year. And I think they can definitely keep it going as long as they can fill that void in the pass rush.
Yeah, for me, it's just like the pass rush, those are 2 first-round picks, and those are, like, rare, you know? I just don't think they'll be able to, like, fulfill that. But I do like Mike McDowell as a defensive coordinator just in general.
Yeah, that's fair. And we'll see what happens with them. But you know what's not rare? Walking into a Lady Jane's and getting your hair cut. Well, I mean, it might be a little bit rare for you now, Easy, but for me, I love walking into Lady Jane's. You can set up an appointment, or you can walk right in. They've got the comfiest chairs you could ever sit in your entire life, and they got sports on. They've got golf, they've got ESPN. You can watch the Sports Center, Worldwide Sports. It's the best place to hang out, especially if you're just trying to kill some time. So come in, see one of these lovely ladies, get your hair done right. They're open 7 days a week from 10 in the morning till 8 at night. Wicked, Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
You know why realtors love using Hall Financial as a lender? Because of our commitment to speed and service. We have nearly 4,000 5-star reviews already. Call today, 248-308-5000, or go to callhallfirst.com.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
December 29th on a Wednesday. It's your boy Easy, joined by Nick Leach, the Motown Commish.
That was fun. I got a little carried away with that one.
You sound like you're going to be like a boxing announcer or something one day.
Introducing, weighing in at 115 pounds, standing at 5'9", Nick Motown Commish Lynch.
I'm insulted that you think I'm 115 pounds.
I know, I had to. Dude, you've made fun of my no hair having... Can we say the ASS word on the radio? Can we spell it? What are the rules with this?
I mean, you make more jokes about yourself than anybody in the world. So I'm just trying to help you out, give you good content.
You make more. Shut up, dude. I seen some comments in the chat. Guys asked me, I think it was my man Joey 2 times. Give me props on the hockey jersey game. I appreciate it. But my man Nick, you swagged out a little bit today too, man.
I told you all week. What did I tell you on Monday? I said I'm bringing the heat. And you got to be able to match that. So I got to give a local shout out to the kids, or my man, Michael Sana, over at Sana, Detroit. So you've seen it. Cade Cunningham has sported his shirts before. I was actually doing some Christmas shopping and walking through the mall over at Somerset. And I think I spent more money shopping for myself on Christmas Eve than I actually did for the people I was supposed to be shopping for. But don't tell them that. But no, they had a pop-up store in there. They've really made a name for themselves since the beginning of February is when I first saw them. Only had a couple thousand followers. And then now you see them doing photo shoots in downtown Detroit with Isaiah Stewart. Cade Cunningham, again, was sporting some of their stuff. So this one's obviously from their baseball collection. You get little Flaming Skull is kind of their brand. So it's great stuff. You're supporting local guys here in Detroit. And like I said a little bit ago, Detroit versus everybody, baby.
Detroit versus everybody.
So we got in a little bit of a debate, I guess you'd call it. I don't really know what you call it, or I guess beforehand. Talking about Michigan football and Detroit Lions football. And since we couldn't have GQ on as long as we wanted to, we kind of got some extra time to argue. And I don't know where you guys want to take. You want to go back to the Michigan, or you want to go back to the Lions schedule? Because I think 8 wins is facts more than fandom.
Spence, talk to the man. Talk to the man.
Dude, I get it. We have an easier schedule. I can see us beating Jacksonville, the Jets, the Giants, the Bears once, maybe. But other than that, we got to play Dallas. We got to play New England. Like, there's other than the cupcakes, I can't really. 8 wins is a lot in the NFL,
Yeah.
and I can't see them getting to that.
And they have 17 games nowadays, like that. You're getting that extra game in there, but it's all about being realistic. And the chat actually seemed split on this. I feel like I saw 50%.
That's what I'm saying. Where we at, chat?
So I saw 50% of them said like there's no way that's going to happen, but 50% of them said like 8 wins it is possible. And who knows? I mean, I don't think. Now, don't get upset with me here, but I don't think Dan Campbell is the same caliber coach that we just kind of saw with the Detroit Tigers. I as much as I like AJ Hinch and as much as I love Dan Campbell, AJ Hinch has won AJ Hinch has won a World Series before, so that's why he was able to make the difference that he did in a short amount of time. There's still a lot Dan Campbell has to learn in this league, playing with a lead more often than coming from behind. We've seen in a few instances in games that were close, he didn't make what a lot of people thought were the best decision. So it takes time. In any sport, you have to get used to learning and playing with the lead. It's a totally different game. You're calling different plays from that standpoint. You can't do, I think, what he does a lot of this 4th down and just go for it because, you're not really playing for much else or you're going to win the game. So that's going to be another learning curve for him, I believe, as they start to rebuild this program for the future.
Yeah, I just look at, obviously, coming in last place in the NFC North, we now face the last place opponents from the following divisions: the NFC West, NFC South, and the AFC South. And that's the Seahawks, Panthers, and Jaguars. All winnable games. I know you speak highly on the Panthers. We don't know where these games are going to fall within the schedule. But if it's past week 4, I'm just going to put it out there that Christian McCaffrey probably won't be there.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to predict the future. He's questionable. All right.
Not that Eazy wishes ill will on anybody here.
Yeah, no. I'm psychic. The New York Giants. Now, this was actually yours and Alex's pinky team that you picked last night, and I'm going to get Spencer's answer on that one too.
So I didn't realize when you were doing this segment yesterday, I didn't realize it was the pinky team to just beat the Lions have to beat them.
The Lions are guaranteed. Yeah, the Lions are guaranteed to beat.
I thought
one
you meant
team.
like they were supposed to go to this. Like, there's no way they go to the Super Bowl. That was my understanding of cutting your pinky off. So,
guarantee a win. If the Lions don't get the win, you got to cut your pinky off.
Dude, we're Lions fans. We don't make guarantees for any win.
We're making
and that's just being an honest, diehard Lions fan and myself.
He's trying to avoid cutting his pinky off. You see this guy? He's fucking scared.
Well, people are gonna go find that clip. I just have to make sure I clear myself on today's show.
So who's your pinky team?
For what, the Lions to beat, or for the Lions not, or
for the Lions to beat? If they don't beat them, you gotta say bye to your pinky.
Well, they're not my pinky, so I'm just saying. Disclaimer.
Gun to your head. Hypothetical.
Jacksonville.
Yep. I like that answer. I seen a lot. So yesterday, Alex said the Giants, and then I think the fridge. We'll cut to the fridge real quick. Spence, who is your pinky team? Is your mic on?
My pinky team has got to be the Jets, man. The Jets are hot garbage. If we play the Jets next year and we don't win, I'll be extremely disappointed. I think, even with the lack of talent we have more talent than the Jets. I think Zach Wilson is going to take a step forward next year, hopefully, but I still think they're lacking too much for us to lose to the Jets.
See, for me, both New York teams actually scare me. For as much as we've seen out of like our seventh overall pick in Penei Sewell, those two teams actually, as it stands, have 2 picks in the top 10, the Jets and the Giants. So it doesn't make me hesitate a little bit. Ultimately, though, I do think that Dan Campbell's a better coach than Joe Judge. So I'm gonna give. So what? Let's go down. I'm gonna go down the list real quick. I'm gonna look at it real quick because I'm gonna find these 8 wins. I'm gonna dig for them. I'm gonna give us one against the Bears. I'm gonna give us our second win against the Jags. So I'm with you on that. The Jets. I like Rob Saleh. I think Rob Saleh is a good coach. I think the first win of the season, the second one of the season came with Mike Lightning. I think it was his nickname. Mike White, legend. Yeah. So they scare me, but I'm gonna give us one against the Bears, one against the Jags. The Washington football team, you're done now, okay? I know you got Chase Young. You think you're doing something over there, but we got Penei Sewell. All right, he's not doing nothing against him. All right, and as if he's back. The Eagles, we got to get revenge. I think Dan Campbell's a revenge guy. I think that the butt whooping they put us on us in Ford Field, he's going to get us some revenge for that one. That's win 4. Win 5, I'm not impressed with Miami. Yeah, they won 7 straight. let's look at the schedule. Come on now. Who they really beat? Ian Book? Who the F is that guy? Ooh, caught myself. So that'd be 5.
I mean, that's not a fluke to win 7 straight games. That's all I'm saying. You still got to do the thing. This is the NFL, easy.
For sure. They did lose the Jags, so I'm going to give us a chance against them regardless. And then you got the Green Bay Packers, who may be without Aaron Rodgers. We'll split it.
See, you're reaching here. That's why 8. That's why 8 isn't the real deal.
Hey, man, it's the 2022. We haven't had a draft, a free agency class. We're just having fun, man. Drinking a little gypsy vodka, messing up the sound booth. Like, come on, just have fun. Have fun with it, Nick. So I need to grab 2 more wins. And we're out of time.
6.
6.
There you go.
6 wins.
Point proven.
Hey, I appreciate everyone who thugged it out through the audio issues with us. I will get with GQ at some point. We'll get some answers. And make sure you guys find our clip so we get some numbers on that at least, and press the like button. But Leach, you want to say anything to people before we go?
No, again, just appreciate everybody tuning in, reaching out. Our socials have been actually pretty active from a lot of you guys in the chat. So make sure you follow us on Twitter. Eazy and I are both very active on there. And let's continue to have some fun. We'll be back tomorrow for one last show, and then Friday we'll be off, and then you get the Michigan pregame show. So let's keep this thing rolling. Have one more strong day. Easy.
And we're out. Thank you.
Bottom line.